Hello, everybody. It's Sherry St. Marie, and today is July 1st of 2024. And so there are big changes happening in the state of Florida. That's where I'm currently broadcasting to you with. I always want to make sure that I'm helping you stay up with the changes, what is happening in real estate, the good, the bad, the conversations. But you know, a lot of you, if you've been with me for a long time, I'm an educator. So this is what I'm going to do tonight because it's July 1st. I want to help show you whether you own here already in the state of Florida, whether you're thinking about it, whether you're an investor, or whether you're somebody who's wanting to sell and leave the state of Florida or sell and buy your next thing. I always want to be the person that you're thinking about, both in the state of Florida, but also obviously there are homeowners associations and condo associations all over the United States. And, I can refer out to anywhere globally in the world. And so that's cool. Here's what we're going to do today. We are going to talk about these new requirements that are changing for homeowners associations and also condo associations. And I'm going to tell you why it's a good thing. So, to begin with, this is the piece. I'm speaking from a place of having experience, which is good. I am one who obviously homeownership means you get to decide. I've never forced anybody to buy a home. I've never forced anybody to be an exclusive client of mine. I don't do forcing in real estate because no one should be. The cool part, the cheer, we're almost up to the 4th of July in the United States, which is Freedom Day, right? Is about you being able to make choices, particularly over your own property ownership. And so I have lived in homes where we did not have a homeowners association, where we had just the city, actually in this case, city of Madison, Wisconsin, rules and regulations that we had to follow. And that was it. We have also owned in brand new developments up in Wisconsin that we had to follow homeowners association rules. I've owned multiple times, actually last, 3 in Wisconsin. And I have also been in Florida, which is a totally different thing. That's what I want you guys to understand. Things are different in different parts of the country, and they are in different parts of each of the states that we're in regarding homeowners associations. So I totally understand. There's a lot of nice things about not being in them, being able to have your own land, sit out with your shirt off on the driveway if you want to, as men, and do what you want to do. That's great. And if you want to own land and you don't want people near you and you don't want to be in a development, super. But there's times where they make a lot of sense. And there's times where the rules that some of them have that are reasonable, and there's a big, huge difference. Protect your property, protect your value in your property, protect what it is you're trying to grow, and obviously your enjoyment of your property. I'm going to just grab the chat for 2 seconds. Hello from Atlanta, Georgia. Awesome. I have not seen you here before. I'm thrilled to have you. Can't wait till I can get my YouTube hooked back up again so these things can go there. I'm sure it's different in Georgia. But it's funny. At 17, I came through Atlanta, Georgia, and had my first peanut butter pie. It was wonderful. And during Hurricane Ian, Atlanta, Georgia is where I drove myself up to through the hurricane mess and stayed for a few hours, meant to stay overnight, but couldn't sleep. And so stayed a few hours in your beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. And then, of course, on the way back down again. So thank you for showing up tonight. This is what we're going to talk about. There are homeowner rights, which are important, right? So even if you are in an association, there is this thing between your rights as a homeowner and what are the rules and regulations of that association. What I care about is that they don't overstep, particularly your rights and the state, that they don't conflict with the state you're in. I understand a lot of depending on where it is. So listen, I'm in the Naples, Florida area. So the minute I say that, everybody says, oh my goodness, it is a whole different thing here. And I understand why it needs to be for a certain degree. Okay. So obviously I have lived in, and I am an agent that I sell and help people buy and help people build in different association developments down here. And a lot of them are much more strict because I was just sassily used the thing of they're a private club, right? They are technically legally a private club. So you can do certain different things in a private club if everybody's agreeing when they're purchasing in there. However, you can't do other certain things. You can't be against fair housing. You can't, take people's exceptional rights away. So I'm going to go fast on this part so you can stay with me and not want to give up. I showed you in the write-up because I wanted to have it in writing for you. And that was, these are the things sometimes homeowners associations get upset about, but in the entire state of Florida, not just Southwest Florida, the entire state of Florida, some of the things that you can do now that homeowners associations and these community developments cannot prevent you from as a homeowner is you can choose your own contractor. Doesn't that seem like that would be a normal right of you as a homeowner, because you're the one that's paying for that home? You're the one that's having the equity, hopefully, that comes out of that home. You're the one that should be able to decide, because I've done new construction for a very long time. I'm a lady who loves the dirt. You should be able to decide who's your contractor, particularly in the state of Florida. You should be able to decide who your contractor is. And so that was one of the changes, that you are able to choose your own contractor that you'd like to work on your home inside a homeowners association or condo association. The reason that rule was different before is certain developments would force you to only take a contractor of their approving. Well, it's my money. It's my legality inside the unit. I've seen a whole lot happen over 21 years of a lot of construction and remodeling and things. And so this is a good thing that you can choose your own. The other thing you can do is in the state of Florida, if you are in a homeowners association or condo association, you can do the interior how you would like to do the interior with remodeling and decorating, as long as they can't see it from the street. So that means that certain associations used to do things like this. You are not allowed to move this certain wall inside because now listen, structural's huge. I'm not a lawyer, but I hear my lawyer going off in my head. Structural's huge. So if it's something structural and your association has rules that you have to get approval beforehand, let me tell you stories I really can't even say. Please follow the rules. Please follow your city's rules. Please get a permit if you're supposed to have a permit and all that good stuff. But this one of the homeowners winning, of you get to choose your own contractor, you get to decide what are you doing with the inside of your unit and decorate how you would like to. I always say jokingly in real estate, it's not my fault if you have god-awful taste. We've seen some houses and some interiors and things that are like, oh my Lord, what happened inside there? But anyhow, if we can't see it from the outside, you get to do that. That makes a ton of sense, right? We're a grown-up. I own this. I certainly would not like somebody telling me what to do on the inside of my unit. And I will follow the rules. So I check a couple others. A big, huge fight, which might seem crazy to you, is you have 24 hours to remove your garbage cans. Some developments would tell you you can't have them out there till 6 o'clock. You have to have them removed by whatever. Well, gosh, some people work, some people travel, some people have life events, some people have kids in sports. So the state of Florida said, no, period. Everybody's got 24 hours to remove it from garbage pickup time, from when your garbage was picked up. Makes a whole lot of sense, right? This one gets a lot of people really hot, especially in developments and especially in really expensive developments. And even I know in Wisconsin, this was a big deal. We had this rule in our neighborhood up in Wisconsin. You can park a commercial vehicle inside a development now in the entire state of Florida. I know you don't like it, but I'm going to tell you something else. Some of this is preventing people from being able to work. And a lot of what we're wanting to also do in the state of Florida is make sure people can work. People that have businesses, people that own property, and also are employing lots of people and providing service that you need. So my own personal example of this, right, was in my last development down here in Southwest Florida, where the person worked for a pool company and he wasn't allowed to park his vehicle because it had the name of the pool company. I understand you may not like it. I understand it may not be pretty. I understand you might feel to you like, I don't want the trashy neighbor next door to me. That's how everybody feels. Everybody feels in real estate. Okay, I'm okay with that development, or I want that restaurant, just not in my backyard. Well, we need to stop behaving like that in certain regards. So whether you like it or not like it, the commercial trucks can be parked in developments in the state of Florida. Another one is that you have 1 week to remove your holiday decorations. Some of this sounds ridiculous, right? It's because people fight over this stuff. People have all these reporting to the association. I'm going to get a lawyer. Yeah. We don't need any of that. Let's just be sensible. The holiday thing is also like there's different holidays people celebrate, right? And so people should be able to celebrate a holiday. I shouldn't just be able to because I'm of a particular celebration or belief or religion or a something. If everybody gets to celebrate, everybody gets to celebrate, and you get 1 week to take it down after. That seems incredibly reasonable for property owners, in my opinion. Another one is, let me check this. There's one other thing. Oh, I think I got them all. Okay, here's what more important parts I'm going to go on to. And that is, this is a part that I care a lot about. And that is, there are different rules that we have to follow now, which are critically important. You can see my passion come up. It might sound boring to you. It matters because it's your money. It matters because it's your investment. It matters because you're considering coming to Florida to live. You need to look at your documents that you get from a homeowners association and a condo association. We need to make sure, used to be a teacher for a very long time, we need to make sure that consumers are having easy transparency. What is the budget that you have? What is your reserve fund? What are the frequently asked questions, which are things like, are you involved, your association, in a lawsuit? And some of them just say that, and some of them say over $100,000. You would want to know these things. You should know these things. They're important. Do people not read them? Yes, and it makes me wild. Woo! I mean, this is your money. You might have a huge deal that seller who should have told you didn't tell you. This is why, okay? So being a realtor, part of my job is to help educate the public. The other part is, even if I'm working as a buyer agent and you, the buyer, still have due diligence. That means you have to be a grown-up. You have to participate in your decisions. I can't make you read. I couldn't make my students read in school, but you should read. And you should probably read to make sure there's something in there would make you not want to live here, okay? Some of these associations are, of course, in the state of Florida. Here's where it's different and where I will advocate, and where a lot of these developments have to have these associations, because there are a lot of absentee owners in the state of Florida, right? There's a lot of things that have to happen, whether that owner is here or not here, which in some developments include the yard. Can you imagine if you didn't have that in some developments? Well, all you have to do is go look at the neighborhoods who don't have it, right? And this isn't an elitist thing, it's a preference. So if you do not care, there's gorgeous, beautiful, wonderful, and I enjoy them as well, places where there are no associations. Again, you do your rules, you leave your grass however you do. The city may bring you a ticket eventually. This is kind of what's happening. And there are others where, thank goodness, not everybody of 540 homes or condos is doing their own grass every other minute about the development as you're trying to sleep and have company and all this kind of good stuff. So the huge part in some of this is the finances. It's very exciting. I want to talk to you about finances. We need to make sure, in the best interest of everybody, whether you like it or not, we have enough in a reserve fund, because some of these developments are big and expensive, gorgeous, but have to be maintained, not just for the looks, but for the structure, for the maintenance over time. So those are the things we need to make sure that we have transparency with the public about. Right now I'm selling a condo, actually, that I used to just live in the developments, actually just a block away here. And for my seller, I need to be incredibly careful with them and for them that we are giving all of the documents right up front. My request as the listing agent is that you acknowledge the documents right with your offer. It doesn't mean you have read them all and it means you're acknowledging I got them from you, seller, and they're initialing, and then there starts the number of days they have to do their due diligence and read, right? Raphael, very nice to see you. I appreciate you. You come for all different interesting topics, and I appreciate that so much. But again, back to this transparency, homeowners associations have to, as of today, have on their website, which many of them had ahead of time, and kudos to them. They have to have on their website the annual budgets, the frequently asked questions. I'm going to just check myself. The bylaws, the rules and regulations. Do you know why? They have to just tell the public this is how we're operating. There isn't any of this. There should be not any of this where there's certain rules for you, but I don't have this other rule for someone else. This is a huge, big thing of me in fair housing. One of my biggest things, regardless of leasing, renting, homeowners associations, condo associations, anything. If you have the rule or it is a law, did you apply it fairly and consistently for everyone? You have to. You need to. You should. And so this is what happens most of the time. So now we're in a place where the homeowners association, condo associations have to give you this stuff. One of the reasons everybody brings up is Surfside, right? Did all this happen because of Surfside? Yes, and a whole lot of other things. It's just good practice. Here's the issue. You have to consistently stay up with it as a homeowner or as an investor so that you know has something changed? Is there something that I am able to do or not do? Or is there a special assessment? And why did that happen? And how does our board operate, right? What happens usually is I get sellers, I get buyers, I get investors, I get potential people who go, oh, Sherry, I don't want to do all that. You did that. I did not do that for you. I perhaps have read it for my own understanding of myself. That does not mean, because I am not a lawyer, I don't represent you legally in your comprehension. I'm a general educator. That you need to understand what's happening and what's changing. And it doesn't have to be a boring thing. I will tell you again, I do understand, particularly in the state of Florida, why there are more rules, why there is a bigger issue about money, because it's important. What you're doing is legally pooling your money and your legal ownership of certain parts with other people. We want to do a good job with that. You want to know that you're going to enjoy it. Is it fun? Yes, it's a ton of fun. So I can tell you, having been in some of these associations, wow, they're all tremendously different. Some of them offer unbelievable, all kinds of amenities and fun and lots of things. Others are more simplistic, depending on what you want. But these are the parts that are critically important. Can I get you to care? And I don't love the fear thing by just saying the word liability to you. You don't want to be liable, whether that be the association's giving you a fine or you went to sell and they said, oh, geez, you're responsible for the full paint color change and da 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 that the association's putting out here. Who's paying for that? Like, what's going on? That's something that's negotiated between you. But if you weren't paying attention to the minutes or what's happening in your association, you may not know. When you do these things well, they go well. When you are a great neighbor, great neighbors are great neighbors, right? So we want you to be able to, with the the House bill. So I'm going to tell you this, two of the bills. House Bill 1021, if you want to go look that up, has to do with the transparency of those documents they have to give. And House Bill 59 increases the transparency for any homeowners association that has more than 100 members. All these things are tremendously good for you. I also share them with you so that you don't accidentally report your neighbor and yet, did you not know the law changed July 1st? You just want to know some of these pieces. Again, I am a big advocate for, we want to protect your property. So we have to care. We have to have a little bit of awareness. And I am not one who would like anything that is a state law for your private club to be opposite of that. So I can tell you a story. I am selling a couple different condos at the Club of Rapallo right now. So I'm going to share this story because I know the history. The Club of Rapallo is a gorgeous condominium association. and it is in Southwest Florida. It is at Coconut Point Mall. It is 11 miles from Southwest Florida Airport. And way back in the day, it was built after Rapallo, Italy, right? 2007. There was a day, not at this exact real club, but way back in the day in Italy and whatnot, right? Where there were gentlemen's clubs, but the gentlemen's clubs was the clubhouse. So just the men went to the clubhouse in Italy. Some of these things have transitioned over time, right? Where you can't have just an all men's club and you can't have a this and that and a whatever else. Part of these are some of the pieces and ways that we're also changing in home ownership and what we're doing about certain things. I am, as I said, a huge advocate for wanting to make sure you understand. It doesn't have to be in this big long thing because usually people are like, sure, give me the highlights and here's what it is. I'll give you the highlights, but I'm also going to give you the documents because you have to have them. What I want you to do is know you also want to shop around, right? I might like an association and perhaps something changes in that association. And all of a sudden, I would like to move. Or my friends who were in this association and now they're choosing to go buy Old Cypress, which is their club, right? Very nice golf club. A lot of people are changing or moving, having to do with life situations or things changing with the association, or you deciding, I would like one, but I don't want one at this time. So for myself, in general, I'm like, ooh, I like to not necessarily have it. I will tell you, I highly appreciate it in Southwest Florida. I prefer it. I prefer the security. I prefer the gated guard situation. Not because it's super dangerous down here, but because it is just a more situation of people coming and going. And that's a nice amenity for me. So I have chosen to be around those type of situations. If you do not want that and you don't want the fees and whatever, I have helped people buy gorgeous homes that there's absolutely nothing, like I said. But the important part is when our rules change, you need to pay attention. I'm going to tell you a story at the end here. I had a home in Madison, really in Middleton, Wisconsin. It was an interesting thing. So it was City of Madison for services, municipality. It was Middleton schools, and it was Verona mailing address. That association, when I bought the house, had no rental rules at all, period. So there were none. There were no restrictions. You just had to follow the city rules about whether you could rent or not rent or whatever. And when I first started coming down to Southwest Florida more full time and my kids in college and whatever, I started Airbnb-ing that house at the suggestion of my son, who was in college and in real estate as well. And I was able to get a permit. I was a super host. We were doing an amazing job. I had 3 kids in college at the same time after a short bit. And I had to have a place down here, keep that place up there, go back and forth, for residency and also college situation with my kids. It was critical to me because at that time I was a single mom. And I was able to keep getting the permits that were required in the city to get the 2-tiered and 3-leveled short-term rental requirements. My neighbors never once complained. I had the PGA Tour stay with me multiple years, and they raised over $5 million more than 1 year out of our house running the Scott Stricker Foundation tournament. It was amazing, and I needed to do that as a mom. Our association changed the rules to you could be a 6-month minimum rental, period. I couldn't get back in my home. I never planned to sell this house. This was a house that I built, when the kids went to college and it was just myself and we had enough room for them to come back home. I didn't plan to sell that. However, when you change the rules in the association and there were no grandfathering rights, I had to sell my house because I couldn't get back in it to see my kids in the perfect amount of time of 6 months. If someone was in there for 6 months, it meant I couldn't come up to my own place to see my family. This is why we care and why we advocate and why we pay attention and why lots of laws are good, lots of rules need to change, right? That we constantly pay attention to our real estate so that we can do the best job for it, that we can use it in our best advocacy and all these great things. So I appreciate those of you who showed up live tonight. This will also go out onto my YouTube channel so that anybody else can watch it after the fact. If you have questions for me, I'm happy to help you. I am not an attorney, as I said. I'm a general adult master educator level. I am a broker associate with eXp Realty, and I'm happy to help you out, whether it's here or somewhere else in the United States or a referral as best I can. But I think real estate's amazing. It's exciting. It's something we need to stay up on. At over 21 years, I have never taken more classes, more education, and been around more lawyers. And I only say that to you because I keep a full time trying to keep my head and my mind and my pieces all together. But it's exciting because the pace of real estate is just really changing. You can all see that. And I just want to make sure I'm one of those out here for you that is trying to help look out for you, educate you, because you're going to make your own choices. I've always been that way. It's the way it's supposed to be. And I hope you have an amazing night. Thank you so much.